This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of WFO Radio. I'm Joe Costello. We got a great show for you today. We have got Top Fuel finalist TJ Zizzo going to be on the show, talk about his run to the final, the Rust-Oleum rocket, all that great stuff. TJ, first time on WFO Radio. Bad stat by me. TJ has been great, but it's not true. I'm going to argue my case, but that's what he says, and we'll figure it out. I think I can come up with a reasonable excuse, but we'll get to the bottom of that very, very soon. And for you paint and body people, like if you really like the whole paint body artistic side of the sport of drag racing, the car culture, the hot rod culture, you're going to love this show. Not only is TJ Top Fuel racer, Top Fuel finalist, a paint and body guy by trade, and they got some amazing stuff. He's got some photos of what they've got in the shop. We're going to talk about that. It's great to have Rust-Oleum as a sponsor. But we've also got Jerron Settles, the Flying Airbrush, who is a racer and very talented airbrush artist, going to be on the show. And we're going to talk about some of his works of art. We're going to follow along with both of them and kind of, go photo by photo and look at the cool things that are out there and some of the super comp cars and bracket cars and really amazing stuff. I love to weave in the other aspects of drag racing other than the competition, the fact that it's fast and loud, the fact that there's art and there's music and there's just all kinds of like hot rod culture that is out there that all kind of collide at the NHRA national events. Now, this show is brought to you by our great sponsors. These people make it possible for me to sit around and do shows. It's really amazing that they do that. Talking about samtech.edu. There's a lot of young people out there. And I don't mean like 17, 18, of course, you guys, but even a little older, right? Like if you're a veteran, they're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. You can go to samtech.edu. You can become a CNC machinist, a programmer, a motorsport EFI tuner. They've got blockhead and CNC programs. And it's a job that's not going anywhere because we need it here for drag racing and racing and motorsports, even aerospace. Go to samtech.edu today to find out more information. Also, Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. You don't have to go far to find someone who has graduated from Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, who is a very successful drag racer, bracket racer, or otherwise. They've got all kinds of great programs. You can even drive a top alcohol funny car. Get your license. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more information. Really cool. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. Total Seal. Everybody's excited about the Ed Pink episode of Hidden Horsepower getting ready to drop. Also, Total Seal has got a brand new website. Everybody right now, do it. Open a browser, another browser. Don't close me out. Open a different browser and type in totalseal.com, bookmark it, and be ready because they've got all kinds of great stuff. You can get the Hidden Horsepower podcast right there. But from Stock Eliminator to Top Fuel and otherwise, Formula One, Total Seal fits the rings. And finally, Marvin Rodak, rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. Joe, you're always hawking this guy's coffee to us. Yes, I am, and I will, because it's fantastic. The barbecue, the hot sauce, the spice rub, all of it. It's all good. Check out Marvin at 817-924-6821. That's rodakscoffeeandgrills.com. And if you stick around, I'll tell you how to get WFO stickers for free. That's right, for free. For free. And now it's time to dive into our first guest. We got our guest queuing up. Paint and body today. Artistic talents. But this guy, his talent is making the final round out there at the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals with the Rust-Oleum rocket, Mr. TJ Zizzo. TJ, there he is. What'd you do? He moved on me. He was in the middle of the shop, and now he has gone to a much more comfortable location.
Joe, can you hear me, Joe?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? TJ,
That's good. No, not really, man. We're breaking up.
You're breaking up. Well, you're showing me out the window, first of all. Like, I don't know what's out that window. Put yourself in the middle of the screen, TJ.
I spent me on. God.
You're good. What's wrong? We did a whole setup and everything. It was incredible. Like, you should have seen. He was outside by the dragster. He was great. And now just reconnect. Let's reconnect. Simple as that. Reconnect. We had this whole great conversation. I can't tell you what it was all about, but it was great, TJ. And I think this is the first time he's on WFO. I don't know. Let's get everybody queued up, warmed up. If you got questions, etc., you can fire them off. Mark says the Ziz. Yeah. And James out there. What's up? What's up? Monica is out there. Need to try that coffee. Yeah, I think you do. The coffee is incredible. The coffee is incredible. Mark is out there. Everybody's saying, what's up? Is that Randy Lynn again? You got to sign in. All right. Here we can give TJ a couple of seconds to get dialed in, to get all dialed in and bring him on. He's acting a little weird. There he is. He's got his tech help in there. He's got his, I can do this all day. I know how to stall for time. It's not a problem. There, you've got your technical department in there. What's up, TJ? Why did you change the set, man? Why did you change the set? You didn't want to be standing?
No, I've spent a lot of money on this Wi-Fi system in the shop, so I have Wi-Fi antennas everywhere.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, I'm disappointed because I had to move my set just to maybe have a better reception.
Yeah, and even now it's questionable, but I think we got you good, though. I think you're good. So don't move. You just can't move. Don't move. Hold your 1 foot. Hold your leg up, and you'll be good.
Right. I feel like I'm like 10 years old helping my parents out with their rabbit ears.
That's exactly. Nobody knows what rabbit ears are except for us, because we are of a different era and a different generation. You're 44. I'm 47. First, before we get to, we got great photos you've sent. We got fans of yours out there who are chiming in on the Facebook, and maybe they'll pop in a question or two, that kind of thing. But is this really your first time on WFO? I dispute that a little.
No, it is my first time, and I'm very honored to be on your show because I know only the best people in drag racing and in the world are on your show. And I've always said maybe someday I could be on your show.
Yes. Well, getting on the show is an earned thing most of the time. But honestly, I feel like you have earned the right to be on the show a long time ago. Your family team has produced very strong performances, and you've definitely deserved to be on the show. I do think we had you on a couple of times at PRI when I was doing something maybe in the Valen booth, something like that. So I think you've been on WFO, but not an official, like, regular studio show. So that's my way. But I want to apologize, TJ, because you're the kind of guy that we love to feature on the show. Family team, nose to the grindstone, hard workers, and perform very well. And that all added up pretty much on Sunday because you made the final. And he's just sorting it out.
God, I wish, Joe, we had better reception. I think you could barely hear me, and I could barely hear you.
Yeah, that's great. Well, it does suck. Here's the thing, though. Here, I've got this planned out. I know exactly how to do it. What we do is we kick you back out. You switch back to cellular. You go back to where you were, and we start again. And that's it. And I will talk to the audience because that's what I do. I talk to the audience, and I tell them that now is the time that you can get some free WFO radio stickers. People are starting to send photographs of the stickers on their stuff. And that is really an addictive thing. Like, wow, these people, they like the show. They like the stickers. They're putting it on their cars, whether it be Justin Ashley, which I won't be telling TJ about that part. But whether it be Justin Ashley or otherwise, people are sending photos of their cars with this sticker, our WFO radio logo on there. So and now I'm motivated. I want to do more. P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084, care of Castello Media WFO Radio stickers. Usually self-addressed stamped envelope, meaning you address it to yourself with your stamps and all of that, and I will fill it with stickers and send it out. No busy work, just sending it out. And you'll get the stickers. And usually I put in about 4 of these, 2 of the classics, and anything else I've got sitting around. We are out of stock with the WFO radio masks. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. But we got new ones coming, says Randy Lynn. Speaking of which, might as well tell you to get a t-shirt right now. NitroFishRacing.com. Speaking of new websites. Oh, yes. And the 10-year anniversary Podfather of Drag Racing shirt, 20% off with the promo code WFO20. Very interesting. And so here comes TJ. Yeah, this is live. There's no editing. There's none of that. Live. Like, look at TJ now. He's out there. Oh, this is the original location, folks. And is it better?
I don't know, man. We'll see. Let's just pray.
Yeah, I love it. Well, you get the Rust-Oleum product placement, which is number one. And number 2, we get to see your shop. Don't touch anything, man. You've done a great job, but stand in the middle. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, your Top Fuel finalist, Rust-Oleum Top Fuel Racing, TJ Zizzo. TJ, that had to be so good for your guys. So with the result that's down the road, it's a win, making the final. You get to leave the track that way. Tell me about Sunday.
Well, I took a deep breath there because it is great for all of the people who work really, really hard for Zizzo Racing. We've been working hard together for a long, long time, and it's going to give me great pleasure to write every single person on our team a big, fat check, because the only way they make money, the only way is on bonus money, and that's 100% of the winnings from our race car go to them. So, Joe, to be able to write them checks come Monday morning after the U.S. Nationals for 2 race wins is going to be flippin' spectacular. I can't swear, right?
Well, you minor profanity. You know, like if you said A or S, I'd be okay with that. If you drop the F-bomb, I think that would be really unnecessary. But in this case, excitement, hey, it's WFO, and F could be freaking or F could be something else. I like to think that F stands for fun. But these guys have sacrificed for you. Yes.
While you're in the mood, what does WFO stand for?
Oh, WFO stands for, there's a couple of things. Really, it's wide F and open, meaning wide freaking open, but it's wide F and open. But that's not the real thing. It came from something else. And here's the quick history. Ready? It was like motocross, supercross, dirt bike guys that kind of really brought it back the first time in the 70s, WFO. And then Earnhardt was quoted as saying it way back in the day in Ed Hinton's book. You know, how's the car running, Earnhardt? WFO, wide F and open, right? But here's where it really comes from, though. This is it. And this is pretty cool because Alan Reinhart and I both did our own independent research, and we came back to the same thing. On a steam engine, you have a governor. There's a governor on a steam engine, these 2 big metal balls that kind of, as it goes faster, it's a centrifugal governor. The weights that are on the bottom of these long sticks on a steam engine, as it spins, they go out. The weights, when they move out. And so when you're at maximum speed on a steam engine, when you're 100% throttle, when you're WFO, you're literally weight are fully out. The weights are fully out. So you can imagine maybe on a steam locomotive or somebody who's trying to figure out like, what, hey, how's it running? A guy would yell, WFO, it's max speed. Weights fully out. And that's where WFO came from. And the phrase balls to the walls. Balls to the walls, same thing. The balls, the weights on a governor on a steam engine, which is like a big ball, when they were fully out to the walls, balls to the walls is wide open throttle. 100%. Isn't that great? Little history lesson right here. We should definitely have that on the website. We got people checking in. Let's see. Monica says, those are my gold, doesn't want to stick anything on. There it is. And Warren Bader, Rust-Oleum stepped up with a sponsorship to do the full tour. Could you do it? That's a good question. And TJ is frozen again. He's spent all this money on the Wi-Fi's. All the money on the Wi-Fi's. TJ, what I'm going to do is every time I'm just going to kick you back out and you're going to jump back in and we're going to fight our way through this. And just want to like show everybody out there that we have a great show and you're going to stick with it. This is one of those deals that you just got to tough it out because look, we got Jerron on there. Jerron, you're hanging tough. You're on early. You're in position. Well, we got TJ. We're going to do paint and body with you as well. But there's the Flying Airbrush is getting ready. And you got the car in the background too. So we might bounce back and forth between you and TJ if we can't get him together. Are you ready to go on WFO?
Yeah, I'm pretty ready. I just had someone actually call at the same time, so it kicked my Bluetooth off, but I'm going to get that fixed there real quick, and I'll be ready to go.
There you go. All right, back down into the green room. That's Jerron Settles, the Flying Airbrush, and he is doing his thing, and we're going to get TJ back. Now, we're going to tell you, balls out, says Scott. That's it. Balls out, balls to the walls, WFO, steam engine, governor. Interesting. And I didn't know that. I read. It's amazing. You can find out all kinds of stuff if you read. TJ Zizzo in the first round went up against Terry Totten and outran him and left first, setting up a second round matchup with the surprise first round winner, Todd Payton. Todd getting a big round win out there over Clay Millican, upsetting the number one qualifier, which is pretty amazing and stunning, but that's why we run the races. In the semifinals, it was TJ versus Terry Mcmillan. And this was maybe one of the big shocks of the day because Terry had been living in the 70s, 76, 79, goes out there, runs 89. TJ gets in under him with a 383 with a 7, 063 reaction time. So TJ gets around Terry Mcmillan in the semis. That was a huge race to go to the final. Tell me about you guys, Mike Kern, that team preparing to go up against Terry Mcmillan, who had really one of the strongest cars all day.
Oh, he was stellar for both Indies. I was super impressed with that team. And I have been for a long time. I mean, Terry Mcmillan and I go back for the IHRA days. The IHRA days, we competed against each other in Top Fuel. And I'll never forget, we were in Toronto. We needed to win the final round, and he beat us on an 8th-mile race. And I never forgot that. So it was super cool. It was the first time we had ever met in NHRA competition on race day, of course. And to go up against him and do my job, it was super. But I will tell you, our crew chief, Mike Kern, came to me and said, hey, Terry's been on his game all weekend long. You have sucked all weekend long. And truthfully, I did. Because Indy won. I was stellar, man. I could do no wrong. I was in the 60s most of the time during qualifying, even testing. I was on. But for some reason, I just couldn't get it together. So he said, do me a favor. We're going to need you, man. Semifinal round against Terry. He's been on his game. The car's been running good. We need you. So when I staged the car, all I wanted to see is a flash of amber, and I was gone. And I pulled an 063, I believe it was, out of my hat, but I had to be on that game for sure. And it was a tough one. So Mike Kern and the whole team prepared the car very well. I did an okay job. He left me by a little bit, I believe. But yeah, it was super cool to see that win light.
And that's it. Going to a final round, like that's a milestone in and of itself. Speak on that, because you mentioned the guys and the team, but you can't overstate it, that it's a reward for the opportunity to go to a final, to think about a final. And now you're going to get to enjoy that reward for a long time. We spoke with Justin Ashley yesterday. He's excited. He wants to beat you, but he likes you. And he was talking about how there's not going to be a lot of smack talk because you both have such admiration for one another and you're both excited to be in the final round. But I would imagine Mike Kern has got a different attitude. He wants to go out there and get that Wally.
I got to tell you, Justin Ashley, I just met. Good young man. But no, we are not taking anyone lightly, and we're going to go there and do the best we can.
That's awesome. Tobler was on the broadcast as someone who assists your team a little bit with wisdom, that kind of stuff. And I have spoken with him about it, and he has always said that you guys do it right. And I find that to be as high a compliment as you can get. Now, you're frozen again for reasons unknown. Maybe you received a text message or you were composing a tweet. But what we're going to do is we're going to do what we've been doing, and it's been working. And we'll get 30 more seconds in with TJ. We'll just kick him out and bring him back. And like people are mentioning on our social media, this thing doesn't happen all the time. This is a rare occurrence. But like Jeff says, just like racing, you keep working through it. All good. That's it. You just keep going, keep working through it and battle it out. What's Rodax Coffee and Grills have to say? Congrats, Ziz, final round bound. Yeah, definitely. I think everybody loves the fact that we have a chance for a first-time winner again. 2 first-timers going to battle each other. What did Reinhardt drop some crazy stat on us the other day? Like the last time that happened went back to, I don't even remember. It was crazy stat. But to see young teams, single card teams, family operated teams with an opportunity to go out there and have success and win a Wally and bring home that check and spread that bonus money around and compete for the championship, which is the next question that I'm going to ask TJ when he gets back, in that, they have a limited schedule. I don't think they're going to be running Indy 3 in a few weeks. So, what about that? Points. You go to a final round, all of a sudden you're getting a leg up on the competition and you're looking very, very well. So TJ Zizzo doing well. And I also want to ask him about some of these cool photographs that he has sent. Like, did you know that TJ Zizzo and the family body shop that he always talks about, right? That's in the back corner. It's a little family body shop. There's a race team is in the back and he talks about it. And like, here's a shot of the inside of the shop, which you just saw, right? The car out working on things in tight quarters. And he's right, man. There's not a lot. Doing some videos for Rust-Oleum, etc. But did you know they also work on stuff like this? Extremely high-end automotive paint schemes. I did not know that they were high-level automotive paint schemes, and that's pretty cool. And we're also going to talk about the fight that happened between Ashley's team and TJ's team. And TJ is back. TJ, you're doing great, bud. You're doing great. This is what you got to do. You just got to keep fighting through, and the audience loves it. We looked at some photos. Now, tell me about the body work you guys do over there. This is pretty high-end stuff.
So, super cool, right? My dad started our body shop in 1980. He was always behind his house, doing great quality work. Primarily worked in the British industry, so a lot of Jaguars. Then I came along, graduated college, and said, Dad, I want to work for you. Let's get this thing rolling. And I wanted to move into a big facility. He goes, TJ, at the end of the day, you're going to make the same amount of money. You're going to have more headaches. You know, he's a hard-headed Italian, right? Crazy Sicilian. So I said, Dad, you're probably right. So I just went along, trucked along in his backyard. We were working on our race car, literally in our driveway, and in his crawl space of his house, literally. And we had a small 1,300 square foot body shop behind his house. 2012 came along. We were racing a lot with Peak, doing a lot of great things, but we were running out of room. So my dad decided to go look for a building to rent in our neighborhood. And huge facility that I knew could only afford.
It's so weird.
Our body shop and our one place. God, this phone does not like my voice.
Well, it likes you for a little while, and then it just decides that it's heard enough of you. But you're still with us. You're frozen up. I'm going to leave you frozen. You keep talking. Yeah, it's the most bizarre thing. Maybe there's a lot of people on the cell. We're gonna keep going though. We're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again. I'm gonna fight through this to the last I grapple with thee. That's it. To the last. I'm ready to fight to the end. Next time by the next time we get through, we'll do the other thing. And he sent these great photos, like obviously his dad working on the rig and the car, and TJ and his daughter. Super cool. But we got to ask him questions about this one. Like, what's happening here? And why are you sending me this, TJ? Like, what's happening here? What is going on with this? And I know the answer already. He says he looks like Super Mario Brothers. And when he says it, he's pretty right. Super Mario Brothers. They had a good time at 4th of July, obviously. More Ferrari work, extremely high-end stuff. And I wonder if TJ is just going to get frustrated and like go to lunch. Go to lunch. Let's see what Mark Robert has to say. I have to admit, I love TJ and Justin. It's going to be a good day. Whoever's going to win, but sad for who loses as well. Yeah, that's very true. The guy who loses that one. Thank you, Warren. 1997 Englishtown. Kristen Powell, Bruce Sarver. That was the stat. Last century. That's crazy. Hey, it's Kyle Keck. What's up, Kyle? Kyle goes to the races all the time. Kyle is a super NHRA fan, and he is out there watching on WFO. Way to go, Kyle. Thank you for watching the show. Really appreciate you. We got, and your dad, thank you for checking in. That was great. Crazy semifinal. We got the Flying Airbrush coming in moments from now. We're going to get to TJ in a second. I'm just happy to be able to fill the time. What is that? TJ dropped the F-bomb in a pit interview. Get out. They had to edit it out. Well, these are drag racers. And the thing about drag racing is I think everybody has heard those words at some point. We've heard them. You know, you want to avoid if you can, but if you can't, no big deal. You got to just kind of keep on going, keep on trucking, mow right through. Simple as that. Now is a great time for me to inform you guys that this is a podcast also, and you don't have to be watching. You can be listening on the go. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. And you can hear the WFO Radio podcast, which we've been going for over 10 years. Thus the name Podfather of Drag Racing. It's been very fun. I've been on some other shows recently. I've been on the NHRA Insider podcast with Brian Loans. I was on with Cam Ferret and Don O'Neill on their Racers and Rental Cars podcast. And if there's, a guest opportunity in podcasts out there, I'm usually all into it. This is TJ's first car, guys. Now, why is it in there? What is that? A Buick LeSabre? What is that? Anyway, he's got it stuffed into the back of the body shop over there. And I can understand where he's coming from. Got to have space. It is still better internet than I get at home, says Bobby Graham. Yeah, no doubt. Honestly, this is the way I look at it. It's a miracle that this can happen, that I can be here and Jerron can be there and TJ can be where he is and people are all around the country and we are able to connect this way and show photographs and videos and have fun and all of that. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. So we have one of these every once in a while. Really, we had a little glitch with Antron first show out months ago and a little glitch here and there. Damon says that's a Magnum. Is that a Magnum? We'll get TJ back. What I think we're going to do, though, is I think we're going to move on to our next guest and bring on. Oh, he's giving him one more chance. This is it. This is TJ is back. He's back and bigger and better than ever. I'm gonna. That's it.
I
Numbers
swear
are
to
just
God,
so you know.
Joe.
Yeah.
If I hope this works, because I feel like I'm boxing out of a corner, man. I'm exhausted.
You're doing great. You're doing great. Hey, tell me about this RC car that your son is working on.
Holy smokes, Joe. I'm trying to catch my breath right now, Joe. I've been running around the shop. Finally, I grabbed this new iPhone, like 35X or whatever it is.
Yeah.
From the guy who makes, no, he probably makes more than me. What am I saying?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the RC car, right? Is that what you want to know about?
Yes. Yeah. I want to get in all these photos before we drop you again. Oh, and this, we got to hear about this.
Dude, that was my COVID beard. Dude, I look like Luigi. Hey, Mario, Luigi. Ah.
You do. And I think you should have showed up to the track with that. Big mistake.
Yeah, my wife would have chopped my off for sure. So anyway, RC car, totally cool, right? We're at Tobler's a while ago, maybe a year ago, 2 years ago now. My son's with us, and he goes up in his attic of his garage with my son and starts pulling out really cool stuff from a long time ago. My son loves RC cars. He has like 12 or 13 of them. And he pulls out this old school Associated Delta car. And my son's like, wow, that's really cool, Ron. And by the end of the night, Ron's like, you know what, Nick? Take that home with you. And he's like, what? Really, Ron? Seriously? My son was so excited. It was super cool.
Tobler's awesome. And while we were having our tech difficulties, I did mention him because he made the broadcast. He was over there, just saying what's up to your team. And Mike and Ron, and Ron has overlooked your team just like there. If you guys have a question, kind of talk about that relationship a little bit, because he has said the very positive things about your family team.
Yeah, it's super cool. So the reason we relate to Ron so well, right, is when him and Shirley were bumping up and down the road, working on their own stuff, doing their own thing, trying to compete against the big dogs and doing a really good job with it, right? He appreciates that still. So he can understand where we come from as a team. We don't work on this car every day. We can't spend 80 hours a week on it, one person. We don't have any full-time guys at all. So, he remembers the days of polishing the wheels on the trailer and trying to get his superchargers ready and all that stuff. That's exactly what we do. So he's been tutoring us since probably 2004, maybe, when we bought some cylinder heads from him and Shirley. So, yeah, it's been a great relationship. For some reason, I don't know why, but he likes us. He likes our team. He likes our attitudes. So he's always been there to tutor us. And I remember being in this exact shop, Jesus, probably 5 years ago now, maybe 6 years ago, with our crew chief, Mike Kern, and him. And Ron came in from Indianapolis to help set us up with the fuel system, right? This is a long time ago. And our crew chief, I love Kern to death, but he's one stubborn son of a gun. He really is. He wants to do things his way or the highway and this and that. Ron sat him down and said, Mike, you know how many championships I got Do you know how many race wins I got? Hey, Mike Kern, how many do you have? And it was fantastic, man. It was super. I remember sitting in my office going, oh, shit, what's going to happen? You know, it was super cool. And ever since then, Mike has really, they love each other. It's so cool now. It's a totally different program. Although they still butt heads a little bit. You could ask Eric Lane about that one. They were in our trailer at Joliet a couple years ago. You know, once again, Tobler's showing us some new things and what we can do with how we tune up our race car into programs and stuff. And Mike had his own idea. Although they were identical, just a spreadsheet. You know, spreadsheets you can manipulate the way you want to. Tobler had none of it. No, you're going to use my spreadsheet, this and that. And Mike's like, no. And they both scattered. They both left the effing pit area. And I'm like, hey, Eric Lane, what are we going to do now? This is when Eric Lane and Tobler worked together. And he's like, hey, I'll go talk to Tobler. You talk to Mike, and let's please try to. I was like, I can't tune this race car. What am I?
That's great.
That's the we've had for sure. It's been a great one. And he does this because Tobler loves us. That's the reason he does it.
Well, everybody loves you. You guys are fan favorites. All right. So why no Indy 3, TJ? Because you got points now and you can get points and every round matters. And who knows how long the season is going to be. And maybe you put together some good runs since you're running so well and you could make the top 10. Like, who knows what's possible? Why skip Indy 3?
It's not on the docket. We only go where money goes or comes from, right? Rust-Oleum had no interest on going to Indy 3. We didn't have any interest in going to Indy 3. And trust me, man, we can't run these cars on $7,500 first round loser. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I know. It's tough.
25 grand, period, to be there. So I'm not going to go there for $7,500.
I get it. But you know, there are larger things. Like all of a sudden you've got a final round appearance under your belt and that's looking good. You're looking good in the point standings, but I get it. That's the disciplined way you guys run. And that's one question that everybody is asking before we move on. You know, like, could you ever run a full season? Would you ever run a full season? And for Rust-Oleum says, man, this is really working. We're selling some paint. Let's send you out there for a full year. That because people want to see it.
Right. So let's go back. We've made the mistake of going after championships, going after, you know, great wins and all this stuff and a pot of gold at the end. We've done that. We did that in NHRA and we failed miserably. In fact, my dad and I are still paying for that as we speak. And that was in 2007. So I would never do that again as a team. We have to be structured. We have to follow our discipline. I would love to go to every event. It would be great to answer your question. You know, I'm not getting any younger, brother. I'm not. And our team isn't either. But there's a lot of guys on our team also that love their job. They love what they do. They wouldn't want to go on the road. It's not their shtick, right? So if we chose to go full time, things would change. The whole thing would change. And let's get over the win with our current team and how we're doing it and what we're doing and having a good time and enjoying the guys I'm with. And we'll figure out the future in the future, man. I'm going to live it a day at a time right now because we have to. Let's figure it. Let's figure. During COVID, we're all at a time, man.
Yeah. No, it's been great. All right. Why is your first and your original car? What is this? And why has nothing been done with it?
Look at that thing. That is awesome. It is a 1979 Dodge Magnum. It was my mom's car. She bought it brand new. It was my first car. A lot of good things happened in that car, my man.
Oh, yeah?
Hell yeah, a lot of great things. You know, I had an 8-track player that I adapted all the way to like a cassette player, to a CD player, to a Discman. Oh, my God. So, yeah, and it's in my mom's garage. I still own it. I need to make a little love to it. I told my mom to drive it, and she never drove it because I got it running nicely and stuff. And now it's been sitting. So it's one of these days I'm going to pull it into our shop and get it running again. Actually, probably sooner than later because I think my mom wants it out of her garage.
Yeah, you got to do it. And obviously, you know, the Ferrari schemes and all of this stuff shows that you guys are very talented with that body shop. You know, there's a paint and body theme on this show. Jerron Settles going to be on. He's an airbrush artist. But to work on things like this, which that looks like the Miami Vice Ferrari, except in red, which is pretty amazing. If they let you guys touch it, that tells me a lot about your family business.
Yeah, like I said, my dad he believes in quality. I've always believed in quality over quantity. It might take us a couple extra days or a couple extra weeks on your car, but when you get it back, it's going to be Zizzo worthy, and that's what it is. It's truly, things around here are Zizzo worthy. Our entire shop is built that way, and it's built around it.
Excellent stuff. And of course, I just got to put this up because you sent it, you and your daughter.
I'll tell you, man, my daughter loves me, dude. She pushes so hard. She's a cheerleader. She pushes really hard in her competition. She gives me tidbits and information that I should take to the track, like she takes from her coaches. So she's taught me a lot of stuff. It's super, man.
TJ, thank you for coming on WFO Radio. I really appreciate it. We did it. Okay, so here's what we figured out. You need a new phone, brother. That's the thing, is we figured out you need to take some of that Top Fuel money and buy the new iPhone Super Max Plus 11 Dash Plus AB. Whatever it is, you got to get it.
That's it, brother. We got it. We solved all the problems of the world. Thank you.
What iPhone do you have, by the way, just so we know?
Like a 2, seriously, like a 2.5.
You have, okay. Well, that explains it. At least we got to the bottom of it. TJ, thank you very much. First appearance on official WFO. Definitely not your last. Good luck. Final round, U.S. Nationals. Very excited for you and your team. Thank you for coming on WFO.
Thank you, man.
There he goes. TJ Zizzo, you did it, buddy. Thank you for the effort. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. TJ. That effort was for you guys, man. Wow, you did it. It was his phone, and that's why you got to update. And I need to update. I have the 10. And I thought, man, it was going to be great. And I get them like every 2 phones. I get the 10, and then I get maybe the 12. And then I get the 14. That's my plan. And there it is. All right. Now, I have been testing this gentleman's connection, and it's looking pretty good. Paint and body. It's a big part of our sport. And there are people that do like the Zizzos do, like the regular paint schemes, extremely high level, Jaguars, Ferraris, otherwise, beautiful stuff. Then there is the custom paint, the next level. And I had a drag, so why didn't I bring up a picture of my own drag? Because I'm not smart, but it doesn't matter. He's known as the Flying Airbrush. He's also a racer. Recently had a perfect run. Mr. Jerron Settles. Jerron, welcome to WFO. My apologies for being a little later than I expected, but I think you witnessed some of the technical issues we just had with TJ. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, TJ needs to get a droid. Leave those iPhones alone.
Oh, you're a droid guy. Okay.
I'm a droid guy.
But you're an artist, though. You're not allowed to like droid if you're an artist. What's up with that? It's like Apple only.
No, the Apple stuff is cool. I like to mess with people with the droid and Apple wars, basically.
I like it. All right.
And it's Jerron. Sorry, by the way.
Jerron. No, thank you. You could have told me that yesterday or earlier today, but that's fine.
Yeah, don't worry. Loans and Unc and everybody say it wrong too, so don't worry.
That's why I've been saying it that way. It's because of
Loans. Absolutely. Yeah, it's Loan's fault.
Loans and Uncle all of those guys. Everybody.
Absolutely.
It's all their fault, not at all my fault. But that's fine. Now, you've agreed to come on the show today, and this is going to be a little bit different. All you viewers out there, if you love paint and body, hot rod culture, the amazing things that you've seen over the years, like I was into going to the World of Wheels, right? Going to the World of Wheels, seeing those crazy vans with the volcano and the girl with the sword, and just amazing airbrush work. You have done some amazing airbrush work. So tell us, where that came from. How did you get into that? How did you start out? Where did your passion for cars, car culture, and airbrush artwork, where did that start?
Well, I definitely did attend a lot of Road to Wheels with my dad years ago as a kid, and I remember seeing all that. The funny thing, though, is I didn't have a lot of interest in it as a kid. I actually wanted to be a chassis builder. I wanted to be a fabricator. I wanted to build race cars. Had no interest in painting them at all. And the paint kind of came from a practical joke, to be honest with you. I'd always used to draw. I used to draw cars a lot. I remember entering the National Dragster Kids Drawing Contest when I was like 14, 15, and failed miserably. But I could draw just a little bit. So it was there, but I had someone give me a helmet that they wanted to play a joke on somebody on, and I drew some stuff on there with a Sharpie. And then the guy was like, you got to get this off of here. So I actually went and bought some aerosol cans and some tape and stuff and taped over it. And they were like, man, that came out pretty good. You should kind of do this more. And it's morphed into a full-time business by accident.
Yeah, what a crazy accident. I'm sure there are people out there. Look, people, don't get mad that this guy accidentally figured out he's an incredible talent at something. Okay. I'm sure Mozart just accidentally, if you watch the Elton John movie where the kid sits in front of the keyboard and is like, oh, look, I know how to play.
Yeah.
How amazing. Who knew? But pretty cool stuff. And you are a racer as well. So first of all, how old are you, Jerron? How old?
I am 40. I'm 44.
All right, so you're same age as TJ, right? A little bit behind me, but no spring chicken anymore.
Yeah, we're old. Me and TJ are in the same hair club too.
You guys suffer by the same affliction. I, of course, purchased this rubber hat on Amazon. But before we get to the paint schemes, for any racer, a perfect run, like that's it. A perfect run. It doesn't happen. It's hard to happen. It's rare. Your opponent needs to be great also to put you in the situation to get a perfect run without it being luck. And looking at this run, he's 005 your trip, and he's a little under, which means you can air it out with your big mile per hour car and hit the number. Is that how it went? Because you got a perfect P-slip.
That actually was the run for the money. It wasn't an elimination round. In Division 7, they do a run for the money. And it's funny because I didn't want to get in it. It's $20 to get in. They had two different deals at Sonoma this past week. And they had a top 8 race, which you pay $20, and the top 8 qualifiers race. And then they had a run for the money. So the first session only counts for the top 8. So the guy came over and said, hey, you got your $20? I said, yeah, here. So I gave it to him. And then about 5 minutes later, another guy was like, hey, you got your $20? I'm like, I already gave it to you. He's like, no, that was for the run for the money. I was like, well, I didn't want to get in that. Whatever. So I gave him 20. So then the second session, again, not paying attention. We're not even worrying about a run for the money. We're just trying to, do some stuff. Jennifer Weens, Ted and Jennifer, who I drive for, Jennifer's my crew chief, and she makes all the throttle stop adjustments and stuff. She's like, what do you want to do? And so I basically have been having problems holding too much, and so I say, I just want to go 89. Set it up high 88, low 89, and we'll go from there. And I let go, and I saw the 000 come up on the scoreboard. I'm like, all right, well, that's cool. And I legged on through, and I got the time slip, and I rolled through, and the lady gave me the time slip, and she said, congratulations. I'm like, for what? I looked at it, I was like, oh, wow. 000 8900. That's pretty good. So we actually missed on the 889, but I'll take the perfect run.
Yeah, exactly. A little coin and a special win, and something to put up on the screen for WFO, right? Like that's what.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So we want everybody to get in on these cars, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up some photos on the screen. I'm going to try to keep them grouped by car, and you tell us, who owns them if they want people to know, obviously.
Sure.
And I'll ask ignorant questions about him, like, oh man, that's pretty. How'd you do that? Starting off with this incredible dragster here.
That is Cameron Manuel's car out of North Carolina. Cam, I've always painted Cam stuff, and Cam had a really bad crash 2 years ago, and he called me up from the hospital and said, I'm in pain, but I want to do another car, and I want to make this thing the baddest we've ever made it. So he said, whatever you want to do, let's paint everything. Let's go all out. So like you see right there, the floor is painted, the shifter, the dash, everything, the delay box, switch panel, all the whole 9 yards. That engine was a tough one with the tunnel ram and getting stripes on all the around the manifold and all that. So, but it turned out beautiful.
All right, here come the questions. I love, if you hear me on the mic, I'm always talking about the cars that are like this. The cars that are just to the nines, like find the spot that no one's going to look at, and let's make that spot amazing. And to me, it's a sport for people with OCD and really want to show off. They're proud of their OCD. Like, look how crazy I am. And Carla is a perfect example. But like that engine gets hot. How does the paint live on valve covers and intake runners and all of these things nowadays? The fuel pump or the vacuum pump is painted on that thing, transmission, etc. And the paint doesn't ever get weird or anything. It looks like these things hold up. How?
Well, paint is actually good to about 400 degrees. And so if you get a car 400 degrees, you got more problems than paint. So, the valve covers on the dragster out in the open, they really don't get hot. More the sun is going to heat them up more, more than the engine. The vacuum pump, same way. The intakes, again, you got cool air and fuel flowing through there. They're not going to get hot. The only thing, we've seen some transmissions fade from heat. If you get some guys going round after round, bracket racing them, hot lapping them, and getting them pretty hot. They've kind of faded, just not really faded as far as color, but faded as far as shine a little bit, because the heat takes its course.
So when we look at the interior of a dragster like this, and we're going to spend a little time, and I really appreciate you offering up some time, because this is going to be educational for me, but there's a whole lot going on here, Jerron, in that the stripes, like multiple parts and pieces, and you got to stay connected to one another. You got to keep your continuity going. There's fading, but all these parts come apart. So how are you setting this up, and what's your process, as best as you can in a couple of seconds, to handle something like this?
That's why I have no hair. Now, they all are a pain in the butt sometimes. I've built jigs and different things to set some stuff up on, and you just have to kind of mock them all up, like, take a ton of measurements, like that right there with the radiator sitting on top and the 4-link cover. I had to take a ton of measurements back and forth to make sure it's going to line up and the stripes are going to flow and the fades and all. And there's a little bit of luck involved in it too. I'm not going to lie.
No, incredible stuff, and absolutely love it. All right, next car, a super gas roadster. It's not just a blue car. There's a lot of work here, and graphics and all of that. So tell us about this one. Who owns this one?
That is Trevor Meserve's car out of Utah, and we just finished that car up in January. He's only got a chance to run it one time, but he's going to have it out probably later on this year, depending on COVID and all that. But that car really, we spent a lot of time making sure the body was just perfect on it, and I really wanted to showcase our ability to not just do dragsters, but do door cars and have show quality, basically. Door cars, have different lines, and they just kind of show a lot more overall area. So you want that thing just to be nice and smooth and precise. And then one of the things is the faux front ends. That's kind of my specialty, airbrushing the grills and the lights and all that, bumpers and all. That's kind of what I pay the most attention to. I could do those all day and have fun.
Did you go back just a couple weeks ago? We had Kenny Youngblood on the show. We did a happy hour show, folks. That's in the archive. And Kenny doing the same stuff, just in a different era. And I would call him a pioneer of a lot of this stuff. And it's just a crazy talent. Here's a photo of Kenny doing some lettering and stuff, and where he got started. But the grills and the lights, where he really showed his talent and ability. And you look at this thing. What's real there? Obviously, there is a bumper, but you've painted it chrome. But as far as the lights, you got one where they're taped off. Or is that a real bulb? I can't tell. I can't tell. That means you've done a good job.
The only thing real there is the headlight and the amber lens. But everything else, the grill, the Z28 emblem, bumpers, rivets, everything is all painted.
And is that the same for the taillight as well? Like I showed this photograph, that's a taillight in there, except it's not.
Yeah. It's the only thing real is the red lens, but everything around it is all painted.
Wow. That is amazing. And the faux front ends, so here's a couple more examples, of just different cars, the RS grill, and this is kind of an exaggerated hideaway headlights grill. Amazing stuff.
I like to really show the depth of the grills. I kind of like to make it look like you can reach in there and stick your fingers in the grill. Is what I try to do. And there's a faux tag and the bumpers on a split window. Do a lot of those.
And the logo,
yeah,
that's small work. That's a different skill set, right? Whereas
that is very intense, tiny work there. Yeah, and then making the instead of saying the original Corvette said fuel injection, we turned into nitrous injection. So just little things like that. I like to do to kind of tie the car in and make it unique.
And exhaust, obviously.
Yeah. The customer there wanted it to look like a real Corvette side pipe, so we did the chrome protective grill, over the tailpipe, and then had the tailpipe come out. So yeah, that's all paint right there.
So the graphics that you you use, like your style. Like, give me your assessment of what that is. Do you have a name for it? Because they're all, it's graphics, but they're kind of I don't want to say organized confusion, but they're going all over the place, and they kind of have a jagged look to it. And from car to car to car, you do seem to have a style, but have you put a thought or a name to it?
I not really. Some of my friends call me the asymmetrical king, but I don't like symmetry, so to speak. I like a balanced asymmetry, basically. I like it to where it looks like it's off balance, but it is balanced. So I like to do things where, like on that Corvette Roadster, where it starts on one side, finishes on the other side, but it's balanced. It still is correct to the eye. It looks like it's balanced. It looks like it flows. But I just like to do different stuff. I think I've probably, out of the 2,000 or 3,000 helmets I've painted, I've probably done 10 that were the same on both sides. I just like to throw it in there and just make it unique, and just have a lot going on. But it's definitely organized chaos.
There's something to that asymmetrical concept, though, because for whatever reason on a car, everybody kind of wants everything to be symmetrical, and so by not being symmetrical, it confuses the mind a little bit.
Absolutely.
That makes sense.
For sure. What I like to do with them is I like to have my cars tell a story. Like, you see a few paint jobs, and I'm not knocking anyone's paint jobs. They're all beautiful. But I like for you to, like, start at one end of the car and look at a stripe and follow it and watch that stripe go places and go around and do different things, not just be stuck on the car on the side. So that's the best way I can kind of describe this. I like my schemes to tell a story, so to speak, or actually go somewhere.
All right. I love it. And we got some fans out there, just so you know, Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, and some people out there. Robert is out there. You painted his helmet more than 2 years ago, Top Gun theme, which that's a great theme if we ever get to see the new Top Gun movie, which is hopefully coming out very, very soon. He says you're becoming a superstar. Being on WFO does not make you a superstar. Eric is out there, although I would like to think so. It's just I don't think we're there yet. But if everybody shares this show, maybe we're both on there. He's painting cars right now. This episode hits home. That is cool. But another Eric wants to know, like, all right, how long are we talking? Like, how long are we talking? And let me bring up a photo of a next car and put the question to an example, for instance. Another one of the cars, this one is just psychotic. Bring it out somewhere that I'm there. It's getting best appearing.
Yeah, that's the Pennington Roadster. That's probably the most famous car I've ever painted, to be honest with you.
Well, why? Won big money.
Yeah, Peeps won the million with it last year, and it's just kind of been everybody's favorite car for a while. I know Peter Biondo talked about it at length at Sonoma and over the air. That car actually there was only body work. Actually, I had a good amount of body work on it, but the paint job was 7 days start to finish, and that's wet sand and buffed also. So it's about 4.5 days of paint work, and then a couple days of wet sand and buff, and it's
That's too fast, Jerron. That's too fast. You need to work slower. You're not living up to the paint and body motto. It's supposed to be 8 months.
It's funny because I have a lot of people on Facebook that like to joke around about, oh, he's slow, he's this, whatever. But they're all jokes. I mean, of course, we're always going to have a car that's going to take a little bit longer than others. But I try out a lot of cars, and I do them fast. I mean, the Mosier cars, I paint all of the Mosier Engineering sponsored cars that are driven by Brett and Slate Cummins and Rob Mosier. Yeah, those cars there. And I don't know if you have the picture of the two Cavaliers, but I did the two Cavaliers side by side, start to finish in 9 days. And that's two cars in 9 days, identical. Yeah. And that was completely by myself. So, yeah, they can talk slow. Yeah. Now, there were long days, and I didn't get much sleep, but 9 days, two cars, identical.
And thus the nickname. Obviously, we're putting up your Instagram, which I use Instagram. Imagine That Customs one on Insta, and I think I follow you because I like to follow some of the other painters out there because I love this. And this new StreamYard that we're using for WFO. This is what makes this possible, that we can sit. And for all you podcast people out there, on this one, you've got to go to Facebook or YouTube, or if you have the WFO Radio app, just open the video section. You'll be able to see this on video because you've got to see the artwork that Jerron is showing. But the Flying Airbrush, that is kind of interesting. People assume, like, talk about that nickname because you have to go to the work. They don't bring the work to you. You're painting people's stuff all over the country. So you go to them. How does that work?
Yeah, I used to really do it a lot where I went straight to you, and I still do some, but now pretty much we're kind of narrowing it down to the shop in Las Vegas, which I'm at right now currently, and then a shop in Orlando, Florida, and then the Cummings shop, which they are a dealer for me in New Orleans and in Pennington's in Texas. But I do go out from time to time and come to your place. Now, I'm not just going to come to your backyard garage and paint your car. You have to have a decent place for me to paint. But yeah, I do. I've been flying out now for about 10 years painting cars, and yeah, it's all over the country. I've lived a lot of nights in airports and hotels.
Listen, you must be executive platinum. That's really cool. So the layout of a scheme like this. My dad had a car painted. We have our own race car that I bracket raced in for many years, and we went through the process a little bit. Here's a photo of it. It's going to be right over you, but it's pearl white. It's candy apple. It's kind of just basic stripes with gold in between. And I remember watching all that work that went into it, and feeling like, man, that's a lot of work that goes into this. And then I look at the layout of the Cobalt that we were just looking at, and just the tape work and the base coats. And if you're dealing with candy, and it's got a, like, I marvel at the ability to manage all of these different factors at the same time.
Yeah, it's tough. I really think that the cars through, beforehand, that, that it looks like chaos, but I really have a plan in my head. I really have a direction, and I do stuff a little bit differently. I paint my cars backwards, whereas most people paint them the other way. Like, I don't have any, like that car being red, the red was the last color to go on. Everything else is done first, so I don't do any overlap. So that's why I also promote the lightest paint jobs in the industry, because I don't have overlap. It may look like it overlaps it, but it absolutely doesn't. So once you look at my cars, and whatever you thought went on first, it went on last. Trust me.
Wow, that's very interesting. And people, you're tapping on the button for the performance oriented as well. You'll have the lightest
absolutely
custom paint.
Yeah. I did a pro stock bike for Michael Phillips years ago, and we picked it up at Atlanta, and he took me to the scales, and he's like, all right, this is what it weighs, and you can't add any weight, because the bike guys are really adamant about weight. And so the bike was only one color, it was solid blue. So I took it home, stripped it, sanded it, whatever, put about 7 or 8 different colors on it, and he picked it up on the way to Englishtown. And he called me the next day, and he's like, what'd you do with my bike? And I'm like, oh, geez, what's wrong? He's like, it's 3 pounds underweight. I was like, well, that's good. And I got a call from like every pro stock bike guy after that, and started doing a lot more bikes and helmets and stuff for like the late Sean Gain and Jerry Savoy and a lot of those guys over the years. So yeah, I try to do light work. Ronnie Proctor, who's a past top sports world champion, I painted his car, and that car, he scaled it before he brought it to me, and we sanded it, painted it, airbrushed it, cleared it, and we only added I think it was 11 pounds total on the entire car.
Just that it's on your mind, I think that's going to be nice to people. It's funny, I had some people already reach out to me and be like, I'm in the market for a paint scheme. If this guy's good, I might use him. And it's like, man, they'd be lucky to use you. Let's talk helmets, though. Helmets, big part of every painter out there. You've got some out there on driving Top Fuel cars, for instance, a multi-time world champion.
Yeah, it's Sean's helmet. I've been painting Sean's helmet for a few years, going back to the global funny car and a couple before that. But yeah, that's his current DHL helmet, and done a lot. I did Del Cox's Top Fuel NHRA World Championship helmet a few years back when he was in Top Fuel, and done helmets for Eric Enders, and the list goes on. But yeah, we've like to do a few more pro helmets. That's how we did with Chip Foose and Hire the Heroes deal for SEMA a couple years back. And, yeah, just a ton of helmets.
United States Marine Corps. How long does it take to do a helmet? Like, obviously, I would imagine it's quicker, but you got to strip it. People don't realize, like, you got to basically tear the whole thing apart.
Yeah. Some of them I take apart, some of them I don't. The good thing about like when you get like the Top Fuel guys helmets, they come in the shell, so we don't have to do anything to them but just paint them. But yeah, they are a pain in the butt sometimes to tape up all the rubbers and things like that. That's a pretty cool helmet there that we did for the kid. He races comp eliminator now, but he was in juniors then, and he wanted to do. He wants to be a pilot, so he went with like the old barnstorming leather helmet days, and it's a flat clear with the shiny on the goggles. It kind of gives it a 3D effect there.
Yeah, that's a very amazing. And of course, being able to do a good flag, that's gonna
those are for Race Quip. Those are the America helmets that I painted and designed the original prototypes for, and now they mass produce them. They're actually coming out. We just finished another redesign of this helmet that's coming out this fall for Race Quip. So I do all the design work for Race Quip.
That is crazy. Now, every now and again, people want to do something that I think is like, wow, that's neat, but it's their idea and it speaks to them. And I just kind of observe, like, for instance, I'm more of a this kind of person, but a rusted dragster. This dragster is rusted, except, he paid you to make it rusty instead of just waiting 50 years.
Yeah. Rick Harbaugh wanted something different. He said, Jerron, I don't want, the swirls and the shiny and the, all that. I want something different. And so I got to thinking, he's like, what about a rat rod? And I was like, let's do it. So yeah, we, this car is unique. It took a lot of time and practice to get that effect. And make it look, realistic or whatever. But, it's funny because this car always gets confused as a wrap. Brian Loans even called it a wrap at the 1.1 million a few weeks ago at the SFG deal. And me and Unc had to get on him and tell him, no, it's all paint.
That's two, Brian. That's two mistakes, Brian.
Absolutely.
That's his quota for the year, so he's okay. He's still under, but we got them both here today. But that is amazing. And well, because the wrap, let's talk about that. The wrap thing, right? A guy goes into a computer, graphic artist, moving mouses around and comes out with something, clicks print, and then they just go stick it on there. And it seems like the easy way out, but some car guys just don't want to do that. What is your view of the whole wrap thing? Like, do you hate them or what?
Yeah, they are the Antichrist. No, to be honest with you, there's a place for wraps. Absolute place for wraps. Like, with the funny cars or even, late models or, guys that switch sponsorships. I mean, Dan Fletcher is a proponent for wraps if there ever was a guy, but he loves paint. So, hats off to him. But, if you got sponsors that want to change stuff weekly, absolutely. I can't compete with that. But if you want to do, something that's, that's going to have the shine, that's going to have the depth, that's just going to set you apart from everybody else. Nothing beats paint. I mean, it's when I've always joked when Chip Foose starts wrapping his cars, then I'll start wrapping race cars.
There it is. Well, exactly. And there's just something about the shine of a paint scheme. All right, we got one more, which is this dragster, and obviously Phantom. That's a flagship car. This thing is insane. It is outrageous. And another one of those crazy nose to tail, paint everything. Do you know where that started? I know the engine builders all keep track of each other and who's an innovator. Who was the first person to get the credit, if you know, maybe you don't, for doing everything, for painting everything that could be painted?
It's going to be between myself and Todd, Todd's Extreme. He's going to say it was him. I'm going to say it was me. But we kind of both started doing it at the same time. And, I don't know how Todd feels about it, but, I'm kind of like, oh, God, why did I start doing that? Because it's so much work now. But But no, me and Todd were definitely absolutely the first two to really start doing transmissions and rear ends and all the wheels, everything. And then it kind of caught on. But yeah, it's those are fun jobs when they're done. Halfway through, you're like, why did I decide to do this? But they are pretty fun. And it's the problem, or I can say problem with it, but some of the cars aren't practical, so to speak, because it's you have to change a converter. It's now you gotta be careful with it. And I know for sure, and this is a fact. Talking to Steve Kazner and some of the guys, all the transmission companies hate me because they've all had to build new apparatuses and different things to put the transmissions together. Marco and all those guys are like, why do you keep sending us these cases that we got to handle with cotton gloves on, but it's just something that kind of sets everybody apart. It's a signature for that, the owner of that car, that there's not another car like that on the planet, with that scheme. And then, it's funny because it kind of became a competition amongst a few drivers who's going to paint the most. We've painted heads and cylinder blocks to match. And, I think Todd's even painted an Optima battery or something like that before. So, yeah, it's gotten crazy.
I love the delay boxes. It's got to come all apart, right? Like, amazing. But again, that's what it is. Like the super categories at, .90 stuff and NHRA, they struggle as it is to gain attention from fans, even though you and I both know it is as difficult a challenge as anything in all of auto racing. It's very hard to win those races. You're going, in that perfect ET slip, 186 miles per hour. That's not slow. They're cool cars, but they all look generally the same as Super Comp Dragster. So what can be done to make them stand out from the rest? And the answer is this. Like, to get in the right phantom on that one, to get all the way into the dish, like that had to be hard.
Yeah. Those are tough. I've had to make special adapters and different things and use different tools to kind of get in there and get them prepped and get them shot and painted. But yeah, my goal has just always been to give the customer something that is uniquely theirs, and so that's what started with the transmissions and the intakes and then the insides and things like that. Was just I just have always wanted to give you a car that is yours, that that isn't hey, you got one of Jeggy's old cars or whatever. It's no, this is my car and my car only.
Amazing. All right. So you got Insta and you got Snap. I don't have Snap, but you use Snapchat for a reason. Explain.
Yeah, Snapchat, I do that so that, certain customers, while we're doing a car, like right now, there's a 63 split window or 63 Roadster. I call them a split window, but there's no roof. Super gas car in the booth now. And not all the time does the customer want people to see it. So I can't post pictures on Facebook or anything like that. So I use Snap so that you can see sneak pictures while I'm working on it. Even when it's done, I actually show a picture of it. It's only up for a few seconds. If you screenshot it, you're out. So basically I use that to kind of, as a behind the scenes tool to let people kind of see what's going on behind it. I've got to get caught up with it a little bit. Sometimes I don't show as much as I'd like because there's some different techniques and ways that I do things that I don't like to get out. But I'm going to definitely snap a lot more here in the next few weeks, especially on this Corvette. I'll start snapping it later today and probably tomorrow a lot too. Now,
is that your car behind you?
No, that is actually Trey Vetter's car. It came in for some touch-ups. Got the dragster stand fell on the side of it on the way back from Sonoma, so it's in for some touch-ups. My car is actually in the trailer, sitting at Boise. I'm trying to decide if I'm gonna race the Boise Divisional or not, or just wait for the U.S. Nationals, which I'm gonna run the U.S. Nationals. But yeah, that's we've got a Top Sportsman car across the way you can't see, and then Corvette. There's about four race cars here right now that are in for updates and getting work on.
No, that's amazing. Top, like this guy says, top secret, right? Well, yeah, exactly. You work a lifetime to learn how to do something in a specific way. You can't just give it away to someone who is just looking at Snapchat. Sorry. And it's a great
Absolutely.
way to cull the herd too. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you get to blow people out. Like that's cool.
Yeah.
Jerron, amazing stuff. All right, I want to show you one thing. I actually downloaded this photograph for TJ because he's Rust-Oleum and he is paint and body guy. And, you know, they're doing different stuff than you're doing. You're obviously custom and race cars and amazing. And I love the airbrush work. My dad we have a 78 Trans Am, as I told you. The first thing he did was have an eagle. Instead of the Screaming Chicken sticker, he had an eagle airbrushed on there. So I'm sure he's at home loving this right now. But I saw some paint at SEMA a couple of years ago that I thought would be really cool. It's obviously a little hokey, but it's kind of neat. And I just wanted involved somewhere in drag racing. So I told I was going to tell TJ I missed him, but it's Rust-Oleum product. But it somehow it lights up. You attach a battery pack to it and it lights up. Like, what could you do with this, Jerron? Like, there's got to be something you could do with this for night racing.
That is Lumalore, and I am honestly working on a project with that. So yeah, we're gonna do something pretty cool. I'm gonna do a helmet with it. The problem is just getting all the connections right and things like that. And one of my sponsors, Coast Airbrush, did a helmet for Leah Pruitt, and she's going to be. I'm not sure when she's going to debut it. I know they wanted to do it this year, but with the coronavirus and all that, I think they've kind of postponed it or they're waiting for the U.S. Nationals, one of the two. But she is going to be probably the first one to have a lit up helmet. But yeah, that is an amazing product. The only problem and why I've been working with it for about 3 years now, it's been kind of a top secret deal. The problem is the process is heavy. And so I've been trying to figure out a way to incorporate it with race cars, but to pull the weight off. And that's what's kind of kept it from not working. So we're going to figure out something. But yeah, it's a lot of layering, and I could never put it on a pro stock bike for sure. I could never.
Makes sense, but man, it's just like I remember seeing it the first time, and I just know the way drag racers are. They want to one-up each other. Well, the first time racing happens, coming through the staging lanes with the paint lit up, like, oh my god.
I have thought about that for 3 years, and I've been trying to figure it out, because I've always kind of considered myself a trendsetter and kind of, you know, trying to be the first to do different things. And so I definitely am trying to get that out there before anybody and really showcase it.
You've already earned the spot as a trendsetter. Yeah, it's like the Tron car. I think that's what they call it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so racing real quick, like, you know, obviously you've got this amazing talent, but what you want to do and what you do is you like to race, you know, .90, all kinds of stuff. What's the goal? What do you want to do? This year is a wash, like whatever this year. I'm happy. So like what plan?
Long term, honestly, TJ Zizzo is my hero. I've been wanting to run Top Fuel forever, and I'm going to try my hardest to get to that point. I'm really putting in a conscious effort to get in an A fuel car the next couple of years. That's a goal that I'm going to make happen. It's just how soon, I don't know. But love Super Comp. You know, it's just I like the toughness of it. You know, all my friends are like, dude, give it up. That class is just nuts. But I love how hard it is. I mean, I love that you could take a car that, I mean, that just would run dead on zero every pass, put a throttle stop on it, and ruin it. And, you know, I love the fact that it's day to day, that you got to fight the weather and all these different variables. I like that aspect of tuning it. And you know, like I told Lewis Bloom, me and Lewis were sitting at LAX last year, and I said, I love the fact that you have to make the car run the number and not dial in and, you know, hit that number. And he's like, yeah, I never thought about it that way. You know, you have to make the car go 890, not dial in something and hope it goes. And so it's so many variables. I love it, but it's added to my baldness too.
I can imagine. No, it's a great challenge. We tell them give up on Super Comp on an hourly basis. Give up on Super Comp. Now your dad.
Yeah, that's one of my friends that's constantly telling me to give up Super Comp.
No way, man. Well, is there? It's like, you know, if you win a race or you win it's like a thing that would force you to move something else. Like,
Well, I've had some I've had some success in on the IHRA side in 890. I've won division championship, won a couple nationals. Just NHRA has just been tough. I've gone to rounds, been to the down to 5 or semifinal, I think, one time. But it's just I want to win an NHRA Supercount race. That's just my goal. And then I'm gonna kind of focus next year. If I stay with the team I'm at, which I love, I'm driving for Ted and Jennifer Weens. I couldn't ask for a better group of people to race with. I may move to Top Dragster next year. May stay in Supercomp, not sure, but we're just going to focus on Super Comp this year, and hopefully, like I said, Boise's up in the air, but going to definitely run the U.S. Nationals, and then see what happens after that. Hopefully, we got some racing after that.
Yeah, I hope we get back to racing as much as is possible. Jerron,
for sure.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Like, this is what I love to do. This is what I love about our sport. There's so much more than just the cars going down the racetrack. Yes, that's the reason we all get together, but your talent and ability and what you've done to just improve the experience for so many fans. Like, they maybe don't know that it's you that did it, but when they go home and they talk about that amazing car that they saw, you're bringing happiness to people that they don't even understand, making them proud. And I'm sure you do well for it, but it's an amazing talent. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you for having me on. If I could, I'd like to thank a couple sponsors if there's a couple of time. I got to thank RaceQuip, Pat and Fred down in Southern Florida, who keep me in some of the best safety equipment all year.
I know
Flying
Pat.
Airbrush. Yeah, Pat's a good guy.
Yeah.
I painted Pat's helmet, his personal helmet that he races with.
He's a road course guy. He's
a road course guy. Yeah. Yeah. But also Sly Airbrush out of Florida. And printyourshirtsnow.com. They do all my shirts, and if you need anything designed or printed, printyourshirtsnow.com is the way to go. Ted Weens Tire and Auto of Las Vegas, obviously, and then Coast Airbrush, Dave Monig at Coast Airbrush out in LA. They keep I couldn't paint the cars I do without their support with paint and keeping me with all the materials and stuff I need. And then Silver State Refrigeration, SSRFG.com. Go there for all your refrigeration needs.
Look at you. You're like a pro, man. If I was a top fuel guy, I might even know how to do the sponsor stuff. That is for sure. Jerron, appreciate it. I hope to see you out there somewhere down on the Long Lonesome Highway some point. But this has been a great one, and people are loving it. Kathy is a longtime listener. She said, love the show. Everybody loved the show, and wish you luck in your career. And thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Joe. Have a good day.
Take care. All right.
Bye-bye.
There it goes. Jerron Settles, the Flying Airbrush, with us here on WFO Radio. How great was that? And there are so many fantastic stories, so many talented people in the NHRA pit area. That was just amazing. And obviously, you want to follow him on Insta and Snap. I can't follow on Snap because I'm not on Snap. That's one that I can't go. But us, WFO Radio. But let's do a quick whip through all the stuff once again. Like, just the wheels and going crazy, the next level, like the words. I should have asked him about the words, right? Like, if that's not easy. Doing like signage, it's a little bit different. The Mosier cars, they've got their own scheme over there. Pretty amazing. But to me, the transmission work. I was happy to hear that the transmission guys are annoyed, because I always wondered that. Like, they got to be annoyed, right? Like, this is creating extra work for everybody. But sorry, guys, tough. You got to deal with it so that the fans can appreciate this level of insanity. That's what it is. And the grill, speaking with Kenny Youngblood a few weeks ago, was great. And if you haven't seen that one, you got to go back into the archive, because we basically do a similar deal over beverages with Kenny Youngblood about his art and his designs and his schemes. And that's kind of where I got the idea for this. There are so many talented people. And this engine, like, I love purple. It's such a regal, royal kind of color. And maybe it's because I like Crown Royal. I don't know. But look at this. Just incredible. And from the helmets, and one even of a former Top Fuel world champion. Thanks to Jerron for coming on the show. And thanks to all you listeners out there. Let's see what people have to say. Got a little bit of a rocky start, I admit. TJ with the connection, he had iPhone 2, and that turned out to be the problem. I'm glad it wasn't us. No Snap for Kathy. No Snap. I just, you can only have so many. I've got Insta, WFO, and myself. I've got Facebook, WFO, and myself, and a group. And Twitter, WFO, and myself. That's too much social. That's exposure to too much negative stuff. Let's see. Monica, great show today. Janet, what's up, Janet? Everybody very happy with the show, even though we had technical difficulties. See, even the negative ones can turn out great. We didn't get to the bottom of this as much as I would have liked, but hey, what are you going to do? There's always next week, right? Big thanks to Marvin Rodak, Rodak'sCoffeeandGrills.com. Try the coffee. Just do that. Try the coffee, and you will love it and enjoy it. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology, TotalSeal.com. If you're an engine builder out there and you love WFO, it's as simple as that. Plus, they got a brand new website, which you just bookmarked a little while ago, TotalSeal.com. Steve Brenwald Media, and the missus has got the Cottontail Cottage, not college. I just keep making that mistake, where they rescue little bunnies. And he does graphic arts for a lot of people, including WFO Radio. Thank you, Steve, for all of that. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, Frank Atlanta. Go to frankhawley.com. Get your license. Drive a dragster. Get in this sport. It'll be fun. You'll be appreciated. And samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Factory Stock Podcast is up there waiting for you. Also, Hidden Horsepower by Total Seal. But the real answer is we need our next generation of everybody in racing. And that means engine builders and machinists and EFI tuners and CNC programmers. And Samtech can do that. That's why of all of our sponsors, like everybody is doing something, right? Like Samtech is training the next generation, and Frank Hawley is setting the hook on people that didn't know that they love it, right? And Total Seal is making parts go faster, and Marvin Rodak is giving us coffee so Joe can continue to work into the late night hours. Things like that. Also want to remind you guys, Nitro Fish Racing, Jerron had his t-shirt guy. We got ours. Nitro Fish, WFO 20% off, and on anything, including the WFO Radio 10th anniversary t-shirt, which you should all get. And from what I understand, are in the Nitro Fish trailers at these Indy races. People are telling me, and hopefully we'll have the WFO masks soon, and it'll be a combo pack. See what else is up there on the social before we bounce on out of here. Final show of the week, by the way. Final show of the week. Let's see. Oh, you're loving the show, Janet. That's what it is. Who's on next week? I can tell you I spoke with Jason Logan today, and we were waxing nostalgic about the happy hour show. Maybe that will return. Let's see. Since there's no racing this weekend, are you doing a happy hour tomorrow? No, I'm not. I had a plan. There was a plan, kind of fell through. No happy hour. But this is a good opportunity for you all to catch up in the archive, because I know you didn't see Ron Tobler Wine Night, and you definitely didn't see Beer with Selzy, and Dom Lagana was incredible, and the Miami Hollywood Speedway reunion was incredible plus, right? All of those things were fantastic, and Kenny Youngblood. So I'll start a watch party on one of our happy hour shows. Simple as that. I don't know who that Facebook user is, so we'll just have to find out. Yeah, love Jason. Everybody loves Jason. It's the happy hour. The only reason I stopped the happy hour is so you guys would miss it. So we won't bring it back. Everyone will really be hyped. It's clearly working very well. I'm diabolical that way. One more. Couch surfing. I need a happy hour. Yeah, I get it. I'm WFO Joe. Please follow me at WFO Joe on Instagram and on Twitter. Instagram is really just pictures of stuff, and Twitter is occasional retweets about New York Yankees baseball tonight, where the quest for 28 begins. Yes, that's right. The Yanks and the Nationals. Major League Baseball starting here in 2020. It's going to be great. And the New York Yankees are going to go on to win this World Series. And yeah, you will, Hannah. It's not happening this year, buddy. There's no crowd. We're going to hear you guys cheating, beating on that garbage can. Certainly. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Jerron. Thanks to TJ. Subscribe to the podcast. We really appreciate all you listeners getting by with WFO. We'll see you next time right here on WFO Radio.